Hello all, welcome to the channel. In this channel, I thought of sharing the learnings which I learned from reading the books. So let's start and welcome to the book club and thank you for joining me. I would like to start with the recent book which I read, that is The Fine Art of Small Talk by Debra Fine. Before going to the learnings, I would say why I picked up this book. The main reason is I always feel when I'm conversing with others, I feel I have a little shivery voice or my voice trembles a little, and I don't want to do that when I speak to others. And the second reason is sometimes when I speak to others or to convey a certain small thing, I use a little lot of words which I think is not right and would bore the other person. So I would like to rectify these mistakes of mine in conversation. So that is the reason I picked up this book, The Fine Art of Small Talk. So let me go with the learnings next. So before going to the learnings through point wise, which I took as important for me, and you would also feel important if you think you want to learn from them, you can continue with the learnings. So let me start before going to the points that it is important that we consider the, the people around or those who are conversing with us as equal partnership, because the feeling of inferiority or superiority would not let the conversation get going. And we should also make sure that we should take up the position of conversing even if the other person is not conversing, because everyone would be in the same hesitation that why would I communicate first, why should I do that first. Based on these small tensions or ego problems, I would say the conversation would not end up, or there is no possibility of conversation happening. So that's the first step, that we should consider everyone as equals and start up the conversation and should not consider anyone as inferior or superior. That would also help us build the confidence to converse. So let's get to the points. Small talk offers the start of conversation which makes people feel comfortable and prefer us over others. For any business or any relation, the two steps that require for small talk are taking risk of starting the conversation and taking up the burden of continuing. Yes, like I said, we should start up the conversation and not put our ego problems, and we should start conversing considering you as equal. Then the second one is taking the burden of continuing the conversation. Usually the conversation ends up like, hi, hello, how are you, I'm good, how are you. These would be the basic things of conversation, and when we get the answers, we don't have anything to speak about, and somehow the conversation ends. So taking up the conversation based on the situation or based on the surroundings, we should take up the feeling as we are the host and we should start the conversation and we should continue the conversation. Considering ourselves as host would give us a upper hand of responsibility to converse. So that is the first thing which is important for the conversation. And the second point is believe that everyone around is shy to come to talk. Why not take the chance of going and speaking? Maybe you can make a good friend, if not, you will have an experience. Yes, according to the book or the tips from the book, it is required that what would happen at maximum if the other person is not interested when you go and speak to the person, the person would just say or leave. That would be just a small thing, and instead we will learn from the experiences. So I think it is important we start the conversation before thinking of anything or results. The third point is conversations with name usage has lasting impact, making the other person feel important. It is also important to say your name, and in case you forgot their name, be honest to ask their name. When we are conversing with someone, remembering their name is something that is first point. And remembering their name and using their name and again in the conversation would build a positive impact on the individual, and the conversation would go in a positive direction. It would fulfill our goal too, the reason for conversation, of course. And it is important with the conversation to go two way, not only one way. So that is also important. Next point is having or speaking with a genuine interest draws the person towards you to speak. Having a high contact, a smile, or finding approachable person and offering your name and using theirs is a better way to communicate. The first step is making the high contact with the person you're conversing, because the person would feel happy that you have confidence. Just look into the person's eyes and speak. That doesn't mean that we should make them awkward. Having a small glances with eyes and having eye contact when speaking with someone and having confidence to speak is something that is very important while conversing. And it is important to use their name and tell our name too. Yes. And the next point is having a genuine interest and desire to know would help the conversation to continue, and it is important to actively participate in the conversation. The active participation includes two-way conversation. It should not be one way or just answering to the questions the person is asking. So it should be active participation, and you should take up the responsibility of conversation if the conversation is going to the dead end. So that is important. Active listening is next important requirement in conversation, which includes visual, verbal, and mental cues. This would encourage the partner to converse seeing the positive cues. Yes, when conversing, the person not just sees your eyes or your answers, the person sees many more things like your verbal cues, which includes visual cues and verbal cues. That means your body posture, your eye movement, your confidence, or your concentration onto the person conversing. All these things are seen by the conversationalist. I mean, it is seen in normal conversation too. It is important. I think these are important things before we proceed to the next part of the video. I hope you like this first part. Let me continue with the second part in the second video. Thank you for joining me. Thank you.